G'day. Um, so, hi, welcome to another talk. I'm not going to read today's Bible reading out because it's relatively big, but you're gonna need to read it. So if you've got like your Bible there or the internet, if you can look up Acts 8:9 to 25. If I'm good at technology, I'll have it up here somewhere. If I'm not, well, I guess I'm not good with technology. So then if you just pause the video here, read that passage, and then we'll start. Pause, open. Okay, cool. Now, if you've read the passage, then we'll get started. Obviously, have you guys ever sort of, when like you were a child, right? Did you ever play like this sort of role playing games? When someone was a particular like position. Like I know I played doctors. Like that was a really big game for me when I was a kid. And as much as I really just didn't know anything about the medical side of the world, it was really entertaining to me because I thought I was helping people. Yeah, if only I knew, right? um, but the strange thing about this game is the fact that I knew absolutely nothing about the medical side of being a doctor. My assumption of fixing an injury, say, as absurd as someone getting their legs cut off in a car accident or a train wreck or a plane or whatever. So my sort of interpretation of that was going, here, let's just whack on a band-aid and off you go. Like I thought that was how you fix things. If that really happened in reality, if I became a doctor and did that, I'm pretty sure I'd get sued. But that's just me. But like a lot of us, we really just don't understand at that age. Like that's just not what you're meant to do. It's something else you have to do, like a whole procedure. You have to go all through this surgery, prosthetic limbs and stuff. You can't just whack on a band-aid and go, off you go. It's just not going to happen. And I reckon, like in this passage, I'm sort of like that with Simon. He thinks that his money, he thinks that his wealth and his fame can really sort of, buy the gifts that God has given the apostles. And we look at that and we go, nah, no, that's not going to work. But to him, he had this lack of knowledge and going, you know what, I've managed to get this far in my life with all this money and all this fame, why not here? We look at that and go, that's crazy. But he looks at it and goes, it's genius. All right? And Peter has literally no break in time to just really slam him. Like a term that a friend of mine likes to use, Francis Slam. He literally just cuts it to him straight. He says here in verse 21, you have no part or share in this ministry because your heart is not right before God. Now, I look at that and I go, sucked in for one, because you've really just been told. It's bad of us to do that. And you look at it and you go, wow, he looks so dumb when he tries to think that he can buy God. But in our lives, sometimes we do stuff like that too. And when it came to Simon, the apostles clearly explain that God just doesn't care about how wealthy you are when it comes to money and fame and all this sort of stuff. And God just doesn't care. God made money. God made all this stuff. Why does he need you to give him money? Because all he really wants is he wants you to be wealthy in faith. He wants you to be wealthy in like his love for him, your love for him. Which is why I have this. It's your shadow. Your shadow being what influences you. Like when you have your shadow and you keep looking back and you go, oh man, I look like that. Oh, okay, that's interesting. It really influences you on what you think about yourself because you can see yourself in that shadow. Which is why I think when it comes to reality in life, we have these two major shadows which we really seem to follow, and it really seems to shape our lives. And And one of them is faith. And if my lovely assistant here, known as my brother, thank you, can give me this one, we have faith. And the other one was fortune. All right. We have these two major sort of things in our life being faith and fortune. Yeah, and you really got to ask yourself which one of these ones are really controlling your life? You know, are you chasing the perfect career in your life, and is that really your top priority, and going, man, I'm going to chase that career because it's got so much money. You know, I want to be that awesome, you know, like that race car driver because he earns like $2 billion a year. You know, is that your top priority? Or, you know, is your faith? Is God your top priority? Are you going with your life, hey man, I want to make the most money as I possibly can in my life because that's awesome? Or are you going, look, I don't care about the money. You know, like, money's cool and all, but, you know, I may be rich with God. I may be rich in faith. I've just realized I've gotten them two mixed up. Switch up. I may be, you know, I may be rich with God, or I may be just rich in real life. Sorry for the confusion. So this is something that I really want to challenge you with, is with your shadows. With your shadows, are you sort of, what's your shadow? You know, are you sort of choosing to go, hey, I'm going to live this sinful life if I get all this money. I'm going to do all these sinful things if I can get this money. Or are you going, you know, I'm going to do these great things and go, you know what, I'll be strong in faith. You know, I couldn't care about all this money as long as I've got enough money to live. You know, as long as I can live comfortably. You know what, I don't care about money. You know, it doesn't mean that you can't be rich, and you know, it doesn't mean that you can't be a wealthy sort of family and still be strong in faith. But it's when you put that wealth in money above God, when you know that you're really not doing things right. You know, so that's why I think that this passage is really strong, because it seriously shows us the two different type of people. You know, so we got Peter, who's really determined by his faith. Like, he's really strong and he's really wealthy, and his faith for God, and he's got everything really placed together in life. You know, and you can really see in this is who has the higher position. You know, is Peter higher or is Simon higher? And it's obviously, you can obviously see that it's Peter telling Simon what he's got to do. You know, so money doesn't buy everything. You know, money isn't the key to life. It may be the key to society, but if you really realize we're not all going to fit into society. You know, if you look at Jesus, you know, society killed him. So we're not all going to fit into society, and we're not called to fit into society. So the one massive question that I want to ask you is, what shadow are you going to choose? You know, what are you going to choose to influence your life? Are you going to choose money? Are you going to choose to follow your life with money and put God to the side and go, hey, look, money is my biggest priority right now? Or is faith? Is your faith in God going to be your big highlight, your big influence in life? Is that going to be your shadow? So the question is, what's your shadow? What's your shadow?